So we're going to start chapter 4, which is ecosystems and communities. The first section is pretty brief, but it gives you an understanding of some weather and climate stuff that's going to help out when we start talking about our biomes in section 3 and 4 and help your understanding of what makes those biomes what they are. So the role of climate. Weather is the day-to-day condition of the Earth's atmosphere. So if we were to say the weather today, we would go outside and we would say what the temperature is today. Is it sunny? Is it cloudy? Is it rainy? But that's not the overall conditions every single day. I mean, climate is the average year after year conditions of temperature and precipitation in a particular region. All right, so our climate is temperate here in New York. We have warm to mild summers, and we have colder winters, but there are warmer places and there are colder places. We have moderate spring and fall. So we're really a temperate zone is our climate. Carbon dioxide, methane, water vapor, and a few other atmospheric gases trap heat, energy, and maintain the Earth's temperature range. So it's these gases that help to maintain the temperature on Earth so that it doesn't get too cold, because obviously without them it would be the freezing cold of space. We would not be able to capture the sun's energy and maintain the temperature. Now, the greenhouse effect is the natural situation in which heat is retained by the layer of greenhouse gases. All right? Just like a greenhouse that you would buy plants at, that retains the sun's heat so it can be warm and you can grow plants in the wintertime. Because of the differences in latitude and the angle of heating, the Earth has three main climate zones: polar, temperate, and tropical. So the polar zones are where the sun's rays strike at a very low angle. So they're not going to get a lot of sunlight. So the polar zones are obviously going to be very, very cold. Those are going to be the zones where they have the 30 days of night and 30 days of sunlight because of the tilt of the Earth on its axis. Those low rays, the low angle sun rays, will hit them constantly or not at all for certain periods of time. But the lack of sunlight is really what's going to keep it cold. Even in the time where it's getting 30 days of sunlight, it's never going to get hot like it will here. Temperate zone sits between the polar zones and the tropics. We are in the temperate zone here. And the tropical zone is near the equator, between 23.5 north and 23.5 south. Okay, and those are the lines there. And they receive sunlight year-round, so it's going to be most direct sunlight, and it's going to be the hottest there. Okay, and here's a diagram of the sunlight. Notice how the top and the bottom two, the angles are very steep. They're not getting much sunlight. And then see in the middle, the tropical zone, it's getting sunlight directly on it. And then here's a diagram showing the greenhouse effect. What's happening is the sun's energy comes in, and some of it becomes trapped, and some of it escapes into space. But we trap some of the heat, allowing the Earth to be warm enough to survive. Now, just a little bit about winds and ocean currents. Since the Earth's surface is heated unevenly, there are winds and currents to help transport heat throughout the biosphere. These winds form because hot air rises and cold air sinks. Similar patterns cause ocean currents to move. The cold water sinks and flows near the ocean floor and rises again in the warmer areas. This is known as upwelling. And surface water is moved by winds. So if I switch the slide here and we take a look at these diagrams, it's showing the ocean currents and the trade winds. Now, you're not going to have questions on your test or your regions about ocean currents and trade winds. Those of you who took earth science know that that's earth science. This is just showing you the movement of temperature, keeping the Earth, heat moving around the Earth. All right, and that's really all we're showing here. Okay.